what are the sectors within the financial industry where you're expecting to see be most prone to disruption and innovation? And I don't know if Andrew, if this is something that you think you should, you could maybe talk to, is it the payments area, or where are you thinking that we're going to see most of this disruption happening?
Well, there's a good formula that I've heard the venture capitalists at Andreessen Horowitz talk about, and they said, they talk about that opportunity exists where there are both large pools of sort of incumbent profits and a lot of customer pain, right? So when those two things go together, that's where there's a lot of opportunity, I think, for disruption. And I think you can sort of use that as a rubric to look at different products and different markets. I think you can use that to explain why there's been such a huge rise of companies like Ant Financial in China, given what options were before that. I think obviously we're in a different context here in Canada and North America. Certainly in Canada, there are lots of areas, whether it's in fees for investing or fees around mutual funds, even banking fees for certain kinds of transactions that have been very, very high for a long time. I mean, we know that we pay pretty high fees for many kinds of banking. I think we've seen the rise of robo-advisors, as mentioned. We're seeing the rise of alternative kinds of checking and banking products as well. I think when it comes to lending, especially for consumers who aren't as well served by the big five banks, so anyone who's got maybe more of a mixed credit history or a complicated credit history, I think technology brings a lot of opportunities to make those kinds of experiences better and ultimately bring down pricing. So there are some ideas, hopefully.
Right. So, and maybe this is something for you, Amy. What do you think is going to make these partnerships particularly successful? So what are some of the things that, we need to have in place to make a good, if what Michael and Richard say is true, that this is, that these fintechs with the incumbents is going to be stronger, what is it that's going to make those partnerships really successful?
So I think that has evolved. So, when fintech first, came onto the scene with a vengeance in Canada, 5-6 years ago or so, really what it was focused around was features. All of the banks, took their own angle on partnering with different specialty fintechs to improve a specific customer experience or deliver a specific feature. Where I think that is evolving quickly is to be more around data. So Google, for example, having lined up a dozen now banks around the US, it includes BMO, but it's only BMO's US business. That type of partnership is really about data. And what's fundamentally different about that is that you're sharing your data to come up with a proposition that takes a much more holistic view of the customer. Banks have lots of data, but really it's just about our banking piece of our life. And there's a lot more that goes on in our lives beyond banking. I wrote a blog about a month ago suggesting, somewhat tongue-in-cheek, that my iRobot vacuum knows more about me than my financial advisor. There are so many signals that device gathers about my life that could be used to enhance the quality of advice that's provided to me. Home automation systems broadly, same thing. You could, we all have my Strava app. So I think the partnerships that most of the Canadian banks have engaged in thus far are really kind of point solutions, and the more transformational stuff, and that's what we work on at Microsoft, or I work on in my role, is things that have the potential to form new ecosystems. And I think that's gonna be the real game changer. in terms of partnerships.